What's going on, friends? We have entered a new age with Harley-Davidson where the engines these days are pretty much just throwaway motors. For years and years, you've always been able to do pretty much you ever wanted to do to your Harley-Davidson at home. But the way these new motors are designed, it really makes it difficult to do anything yourself at home, and in a lot of cases, it pretty much becomes cost prohibitive. Back in the day of the Evolution engine, this was such a simple motor. These things were super easy to work on. You can pretty much do anything with an Evolution engine, and you could do it all in your garage. Now, Evolution engines, you might go through 2 top ends on those motors before you ever even needed to consider getting into the crank on these bikes. Super simple. You could do a top end, pistons, rings, clean up the heads on the workbench, put them back together, throw in a new cam and lifters, and go on down the road. Now, when it comes to those were very serviceable engines. But as Harley-Davidson has gone into the later years, the engines are becoming less and less serviceable at home. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, when it comes to later model Harley-Davidson engines, there's a lot more going on in there. The concept is the same, but they are definitely a bit more complicated than the original Evolution engines, the one that we could really work on in our own garage. Now, as many of you may know, when it came to the twin cam, you definitely needed a lot more special tools, especially to deal with the cam plate and get in there and actually do the job right. Now, as we all know, the twin cam engine basically had a lot of planned obsolescence built into it. A lot of people consider the twin cam engine a throwaway engine. Now, I disagree with that, but there are some things when it comes to the twin cam motor that you need to consider if you're actually wanting to do a rebuild on your engine. Now, number one, we all know the press cranks do not last as long as the old style bolted together cranks. Now, the new press cranks, the issue with that is by the time you come around to actually needing a rebuild on one of these engines, you're probably going to have to do a lot more than just put a top end on it. Now, number one, when you get the bike completely tore down, you want to go ahead and pull your primary drive off and actually turn that crank over. And what you may find is you have play in the rods, you may have some tight spots in there, and that's just because the crank run out with the press cranks over time, they're not perfect from the factory and they tend to develop more run out. And the other issue that you might find that we didn't have with the Evolution engine is the lifter blocks. The lifter blocks were on the Evolution engine, they were replaceable. You could actually remove these, buy a new set, put them on there, and you're good to go again. You could use a stock lifter. If they were internal, if the inside of the lifter board was damaged, you didn't really have to worry about it. You could just buy a new one. Now, granted, you might consider like, oh yeah, it's another leak point, but I always like the ability to be able to replace those. Now, on the twin cam engine, the lifter blocks are actually cast into the case. So if anything happens to that lifter block down in the case, you might get lucky and be able to get away with putting an oversized lifter in there. Now, if that becomes damaged from the stock lifter in there, rattling around, it mars it up and tears it up really bad, then you're gonna have to go out and have that cleaned up to be able to fit an oversized lifter in it. And that is the next issue with some of these newer bikes. A lot of machining sometimes is going to be involved when it comes to rebuilding your later model Harley-Davidson. Bottom line really is I just don't feel like the newer motors are built to the quality level that the Evolution engine was. They are not as serviceable at home as they used to be. And what that is going to lead to is that if you do have an engine that's getting old, getting tired, you may go ahead and buy a top end kit, but then you start getting into it and you realize, oh hell, my crank shot, my bearings are going bad, my rod bearings, I need to go ahead and get this replaced. And now is the time to do it, or all the money that you spent on your top end kit and getting it freshened up is going to be a complete waste. Now, enter the other issue. You've got to go out and find a shop that can service the crankshaft on that bike. You probably at the same time, you're going to go ahead and have your heads gone through, so you got to find a machine shop for that. And this is where all the cost starts to add up, especially if you're doing this yourself and going out and getting this work done, farmed out work, done individually at different places. You start collecting a lot of receipts, and that's a lot of money out of pocket. And honestly, I do believe this is by design, because what that gets you to do is that gets you to come back to Harley-Davidson to buy a new crate motor Or even better, you could go out and find you something on the aftermarket, maybe an S&S motor. I know there's several little companies out there that actually sell rebuilt engines. Or the other option is to find a low mileage engine out of a wrecked motorcycle. Now, once again, that is a pig in a poke. I know there's some reputable eBay sellers out there that have a video of it running and this and that, but I still feel like you're rolling the dice when you go that route. Now, fortunately, you do have another option when it comes to this, and that is to take your bike to a shop that can actually, hopefully, do all the work in-house, including any machine work that you may need done. And not only that, the shop may have a relationship with a good machine shop if they don't do all their work in-house. So if you need any machining done, when they do it for the shop, they might be able to get it at a little bit lower cost than you can even do it yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, Harley-Davidsons of any year are far from throwaway motorcycles just because of the parts availability. Now, what you need to consider is if you rode your motorcycle enough to where you actually physically need to rebuild it, it's just old and tired, you definitely want to consider your options about when it comes to doing it yourself versus taking it to a shop and having it done, or just completely buying a brand new engine. As I mentioned, a lot of that stuff, you could do a lot of the work at home. Now, I'm not a machinist, but I know there's probably some guys out there watching this that can do all that machine work or have access to the tools to be able to do it. Not all of us have a 3-axis CNC or whatever in our shop. I'm not a machinist. I damn sure couldn't do it if you gave it to me. But what I can do is I can take it out to a machine shop. But when I do that, I'm paying fees there, and then I'm bringing it back, and then I find something else. I've got to go back or go somewhere else, depending on what I need done. So, as I mentioned, cost really starts to rack up when you start trying to rebuild the engine yourself. Can it be done? Absolutely. But you definitely want to look at what the cost benefit is going to be before you dig into it. It might just be better to go out and buy a whole new engine, whether that be a crate motor, or you get a good running motor off of eBay, or you just find a good local shop that can give you a whole price on one. Heck, you might even find a shop that buys motors, goes through them, and they have them sitting on the shelf. I know a lot of my local shops back in the twin cam era, they used to have brand new twin cam engines sitting on the shelf, and they were pretty straightforward with you about it. In fact, I was up at a parts counter one day and a guy wanted a Stage 4 Screaming Eagle kit for his bike. And the most honest thing I've ever heard out of the dealer, he goes, I could sell that to you, but you'd actually come out better off with a brand new Screaming Eagle 120R crate engine. And he wasn't lying, because the benefit of getting a new crate motor or just going out and buying one or getting it completely rebuilt, you don't have the little heres and theres, you don't have the little surprises that come up. Everything's brand new. It's all fresh and ready to go. And the cost difference between taking your existing engine and getting it all worked over, trying to do all that yourself, chasing parts around, might actually be more beneficial to take it to a shop and let them do it, go all the way through the engine and do everything that needs to be done, or just buy yourself a crate motor. That way it's a brand new engine and you don't have anything to worry about. It's kind of come to a point where Harley-Davidson has designed the engines, especially the Milwaukee 8, to where when you hit that point, there's really nothing more you could do other than replace the cases, send it to a machine shop, and do a whole bunch of work to it that really kind of makes you look at it and go, man, I may as well just buy a new motor or buy a new bike at this point. I feel like Harley-Davidson has intentionally taken the home serviceability out of the motorcycles by design to try to get you to buy new engines and new bikes. That's just kind of the way it is these days, and as much as we all know about that, it absolutely sucks. But anyhow, guys, I want your opinions. Do you feel like you could rebuild your motor completely from top to bottom at home in your garage, chasing parts, chasing different machine shops, and get it done cheaper than just taking it out to a shop and saying do it all? Or do you think you'd be better off just going out and buying a brand new crate engine? Let me know your opinion on that down in the comments, guys. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But till next week, guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.